I want to, while the choir goes back and sits down, I want to take a few moments today, and I will take a few minutes for this. It says special announcement. Actually, I have special announcements, plural. There are a lot of very, very exciting things that are about to happen in the life of this church. And we had a very exciting session meeting last week, I guess it was, on Tuesday, where we made some pretty big decisions that we are very, very excited about, and I wanted to share those with you. There's 4 different groups of things that I wanted to share. The first is exciting and also a challenge for us, in that we will be having, starting in January after the break, I want to split our junior and senior high group into 2 groups. They're too big. We have too many kids. So we need to, absolutely, we need to split them up. Absolutely. And this is a tribute to your youth, because I'd say, I don't know, 5 or 6 are the normal number of youth that are here on Sunday mornings, but there are 15, 16 or so on Wednesday evenings, and that's because your kids are inviting their friends. And we have youth from the Catholic Church, the Methodist Church, and a couple that don't go to their families, don't go to church, that are a part of our youth group, and they consider themselves a part of our youth group, and it's incredibly exciting what your kids are doing, so they deserve a big hand for that. So let's give them a big hand. So that's exciting. Yeah, we want to split into 2 groups. Now here's a challenge. We need more sponsors. All right. The plan is that Chuck Rademski will take the junior high group, and we'll continue to sponsor them, but he needs helpers. And then I'll take the senior high group and sponsor them, and I need a lot of help, as you can imagine. But we need at least one other person every week. If you can help us on Wednesday evenings, that's great. Obviously, if you're in choir or a bell choir, that kind of precludes because they happen at the same time. But if you're not and you're interested in helping out with the kids, even if you can't do it every Wednesday, you can do it sometimes, come talk to us. And we'll make a schedule or whatever makes sense. So this is great, exciting news. All right, speaking of youth, Tyler, I want to mention some things that are coming up in the summer because I think these are really exciting. The first thing is we have this Youth Triennium Conference that you may have heard about. This is for senior high youth, and it will be in Purdue, Indiana. I think it's in late June, as I recall. Yeah, right around the 4th of July weekend, right around in there. This is a really, really, really cool conference. It's multiple thousand senior high kids getting together with their chaperones and everything else, learning about God, having fun, learning more about themselves and about each other. It is really, really a neat thing. So you'll be hearing more and more of this as the winter turns into spring and we get closer, but I wanted to mention that. The second thing I want to mention is an urban immersion mission trip that we're going to be planning to take over the summer as well. And this will be for both the junior high and senior high kids. And we'll be looking to go to the Twin Cities, maybe Chicago, Des Moines, who knows where we'll be going. But we're kind of in the preliminary planning for this right now. And it's very, very exciting. It'll be a great thing for your kids. And the third thing you see up here is I just sent out our job description and our application to bring in a pastoral intern over the summer as well. What my vision of this is that it'll be a seminary student that'll be doing their practicing, if you will, so that they can come up here and do kind of what I'm doing. So that'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to bringing in a seminary student in here. We've initially sent to my alma mater because, well, I'm biased, so we'll see if we can get someone from UD here. If not, if I don't hear from anything by January or so, we'll widen that net and go to some other seminaries as well. But they'll be coming in over the summer. They'll be working with the youth. They'll also be doing some preaching. They'll be doing some teaching of Bible studies, kind of whatever else that we put them to use for. So I'm very excited about bringing them in. So those 3 exciting announcements. All right, Tyler, next. Next one, you may have heard something about this. This one is going to be fun. This is our Wednesday evening activities. And currently we have, let's say, youth groups and the elementary group, and then, of course, the choir practice and bell choir practice. What we are adding to that already reasonably busy schedule is, number 1, a dinner. This is a family dinner. It'll start at 5 o'clock. Okay, so the children's elementary fellowship goes from 3:30 until 5. At 5 o'clock, we'll open up the kitchen and have dinner. This is for everybody. All right, whether you have kids here or not, it's for you. This is open for you, for your friends. This is a great opportunity to bring friends in that may not go to church, that may be like, Sunday mornings is not really for me, not my thing, a traditional thing, I'm not really into it. Invite them for supper. All right, have them come in, have them eat supper with us, and then at 5:30, we're going to be having a 30 to 40 minute praise worship service right here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but behind the Christmas tree, hidden under the tree, we've got the electronic drum set, we've got the keyboard, there's a bass guitar at home and a couple acoustics kicking around and an electric guitar and everything. The praise band has been practicing for about a month now. Becky, Jason's in the praise band. Who else? Let's see, of course, David and Loren are in there. Deb Bristow's in the band as well. And then Patrick Marty from the Irvington Church is there, as well as Becca Malia from the Irvington Church. So I think that's everyone. Oh, Peter, yeah, of course. Peter Jorgensen, who is a friend of the boys. He's a sophomore. Yeah, good. He's a sophomore as well. Plays a good electric guitar, by the way. I'm pretty impressed. It's going to be a fun service. It's going to be very participative. It'll be very different than our Sunday morning services. There won't be bulletins. There'll be a lot of standing and singing. There'll be a lot of listening to me talk interactively, perhaps. We'll kind of see how it goes. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So again, invite your friends that don't go to church. They're like, oh, I don't know, hymns, I don't know. Invite them for supper. Have them come over for the praise service. It'll be a lot of fun. Right after that, then, we have the bell choir practice. And right after that, we have the regular choir practice. Regular choir? Is that like an irregular choir? All right. Anyway, moving on. We'll have all those things as well. So we're going to have a fantastic... What's that? Oh, and also youth group as well. The junior high and then the senior high youth groups will be meeting at 6:30 as well. So this is going to... Other than that, not a lot going on Wednesdays. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Things we need from you. We're going to be signing up the... Hey, Walt, can I announce the new name of the Acts 16.5 group? Excellent. Missional Outreach? Good, okay, got it right. The Acts 16.5 committee has changed their name to Missional Outreach, which better reflects what it is that they do. And the Missional Outreach Committee is going to be organizing the suppers that are going on. All right, so the first couple, 2 or 3, the committee themselves are going to do the suppers and clean up afterward, but then after that, we're going to be having sign-up sheets. And so everybody on the committee will build their own team of people to cook the suppers and clean up afterward and all that. They've been doing a fantastic job gathering menus and getting ideas and all those kinds of things. So it should be pretty straightforward to do. Real excited about it, but we'll need you to help sign up for that and to help out with that. More importantly, we need you to come eat, and we need you to bring your friends. That's what this is all about. This is fellowship, this is fun, and it's going to be a lot of exciting stuff going on Wednesday evenings. All right. Next slide. Here is the most exciting thing. I have been bursting for the last few weeks to talk about this. The session approved it on Tuesday, so here we go. We are now in the midst of forming a church renovation task force. And as you can see, what that means is that the plan for this task force is to create a renovation and expansion plan for the next 50 years. And I chose the next 50 years because this church building is approximately 50 years old. And it's still here, and it's still used, and it's still loved. And that is a testament to both the initial designers and builders, as well as to everyone who has been here for this length of time, because this building is still perfectly functional and wonderful after 50 years of use. And now what we're looking for is we want to bring a task force together to do the same thing again, to have that kind of commitment and to accept that kind of challenge to, number one, renovate in here, maybe change some colors. If you look around at the pews, perhaps your pew isn't discolored, but I bet you within 2 or 3 pews of you, you will find a very discolored pew cover. The pews themselves need some refinishing at the very least, perhaps some replacement. Looking at the colors, these are wonderful colors from the 1960s and 70s. Nothing wrong with that, just saying. All right? So, the other thing that I want to point out, when I walk in, I see a beautiful cross. And that's a gorgeous cross, but it takes me a minute to see it. So one thing that I challenge us is to change the front a little bit, to where when you walk in, you turn that corner, you see that cross, and it jumps out at you. Now, what's that going to look like? Do we need to take some things down, change some colors? I don't know yet. That's what the task force is all about. But I would love to be able to turn that corner, and everybody who turns that corner and walks into the sanctuary immediately fixates on that cross, because it is a gorgeous cross, and it's what we're here for. It's what it's all about. So I would love to see that happen. So that's the renovation stuff. We're also looking at expansion. If you've noticed the last 2 or 3 potlucks that we've had, we've filled the fellowship hall. We've added people in the fireside room. There's people sitting in the youth room. That's great. That's exciting. We're too big. But it doesn't help with our fellowship if we're scattered about in different rooms. So one of the challenges that we have for this task force is to understand what kind of fellowship space that we can create. Does that mean extending the existing fellowship hall? Does it mean building where that plan from 50 years ago, again, what a great plan, had the wooden wall down at the far end of the hallway over there, is meant to be knocked out and a larger fellowship hall built there? The question is now the time. Can we do that? And that's the challenge that we have for the task force. All right, because we're out of space, quite simply, for our fellowship room. Right now, we have more people than our current fellowship hall can easily accommodate. All right. And right now, there's some things that we can do in this sanctuary that will really, really make it appealing, and I think that kind of bring it up to speed again for the next 50 years. Doug Marty, who's hiding in the back there, will be heading up this committee. He graciously volunteered to do that, and we are looking for a small group to join him on this journey. This journey will include visiting other churches, gathering ideas, thinking out of the box. All right, really coming up with interesting ideas, listening to the congregation, getting their input, those kinds of things. A few months of that, whatever that takes, and then of course we'll be working with designers, architects, etc., to determine what it is, what we can do, how much it'll cost, coming back to the congregation, reporting on that, getting feedback, presenting that to session, who will then have the approval authority. Folks, this is incredibly, incredibly exciting. I've just been bursting for the last few weeks to tell everybody this. And so some of you that went over to my house yesterday, I was just all, okay, you give me a church tomorrow? You give me a church tomorrow? Because this is neat stuff. And this isn't just a hope. This isn't just well, if we build this, maybe people will come. We're already overflowing in our fellowship space. And the numbers just dictate that now is the time. So here's a challenge that I have for you, is if you're interested in being on this task force, come talk to me, talk to Doug. We'll get you signed up. We'll let you know more about it, what it's going to be. But we need folks who are willing to think out of the box, come up with ideas, spend the time going to some different churches that have been built recently, seeing what they're all about, and creating a plan that will be usable for this church for the next 50 years. That's the goal. If you have any questions on this, please come see me afterward on any of these things that I've announced this morning. Please come see me after the service. I'd love to chat with you about it. But I literally am just bursting with excitement over all of this. All right. And I did shorten the sermon a little bit to account for all this, but probably not for as long as I talked, so oh well. So here we are as Advent comes to a close, this season of preparation. Hope, peace, joy, and now today, love. And I'd like to start with just a quick reminder of where we've been over the last 3 weeks. Hope, the passion behind our faith. See, hope, if you remember, makes our faith something other than just mere acceptance. It makes us long for God. Peace, the goal of our faith. Not just the absence of conflict, but the coming together of the body of Christ in such a way that we see the amazing things that we can do together. And joy. Joy, the means of our faith. Joy makes our faith take off, not just some temporary happiness, but it's the reveling in God and God's gifts for us. And joy continues to exist even in the midst of sorrow. In fact, joy is our answer. It's our solution to sorrow, to evil. And now today, finally, there is love. If hope is the passion, if peace is the goal, and if joy is the means, then love is the foundation of our faith. And in fact, you know what? I'll go even further. Love is the foundation of all that we do. See, love is what wills us onward through life. Whatever we love, that's what compels us to continue forward. For example, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 says this: "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. In their eagerness to be rich, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pains." If our love is money, we could become compelled to do certain things, and we don't even notice. And those things have certain negative effects. But it's not those negative effects that drive people actions. It's what they love. Money. And in fact, I would venture to say they probably don't even notice the negative effects of their actions. You see, money becomes the driving force in their life simply because they love it. And for everybody, what we love is the foundation of our life. So in the same manner as in this negative example, if we love God, we are also compelled to do certain things. The love of God becomes a driving force in our life because whatever we love, we will follow. And here's why love is so important as a foundation to our faith. In a Bible study group recently, we broke into a conversation, as is often happens, on what we need to do to be saved. And as is usual for me, I immediately said that no, all we have to have is faith. There is nothing that we have to do. There is no requirement for us to do anything other than simply have faith. And as some of you might be thinking right now, well, that was met with some questions. And one comment that I heard that day was, well, it can't be that easy. And my response to that comment that I am now disappointed with is that it is both that easy and that difficult. And then the discussion moved on. But I want to go back to that moment. You see, the problem with my answer that I gave was that it was one of those comments that teachers give sometimes meant to provoke discussion and thought and, move the conversation. But you know what? I was wrong. It is that easy. It is only that easy. All we need to have is faith. Faith with a foundation of love. If the foundation of our faith is love, then we will unknowingly do things that are required of us. Now think about that 1 Timothy verse to see what I'm saying. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. I don't think any of us have a problem in seeing how a love of money can easily lead us to decisions that bring evil in our lives. And I also think that none of us assume that most people knowingly want evil in their lives, right? But if money is the center of our life, if we put our faith in money, then we make certain decisions. We do certain things unknowingly. And Paul says that those decisions and actions lead to evil. But it is the love of money that drives those decisions, not the desire for evil in our life. See, what we love is the foundation, the decision maker, even when it leads to evil. This love of money means that we unknowingly do things that bring evil into our lives. So, let's change this. Now let's assume that our love is for God. So taking some liberties with 1 Timothy, if the love of money is the root of all kinds of actions that lead to evil, then can't we replace the object of our love? Something like this. The love of God is the root of all kinds of wonderful actions. If the foundation of your faith is love, then your love of God will be the root of all kinds of wonderful actions. And you won't even know. You won't even know that you're doing good things. See, these folks that love money, do you think they wake up each morning trying desperately to be good enough for money to love them back? Do you think that they're constantly thinking of new ways to show their love of money? Maybe they read some books on the best ways to love money so that money can love them back? No. No, those that love money unknowingly do things that are driven by that love. So it is with the love of God. Those that love God will unknowingly do things that are driven by that love. And of course, this unknowing nature of actions driven by love presents a challenge. I've seen a large amount of love for God in this congregation. Even in the announcements this morning, you hear it. And if that love compels us to unknowingly do good things, well, then we don't notice, do we? And if we don't notice that we're doing good things for God, we get worried, don't we? See what I'm saying? Love compels us to do things. Love of money compels us to make choices that hurt others, hurt ourselves. Those making those choices don't even notice. So the love of God compels us to make choices as well. Choices that help others. Choices that help ourselves. And those making those choices don't even notice. It's not because we're being modest. It's because we're acting out of love. And when we act in the love of God, we are doing all that is necessary for salvation. Love is the foundation of our faith. That's why Paul says that faith without love is this noisy gong, this clanging cymbal. It's just noise. We can proclaim all the faith in the world, but if it is not built on the love of God, then it is built on sand. Without the firm foundation, our faith is easily destroyed. Minus the love of God, we're just making noise. And I'm reminded of that as we complete our Advent journey. I assume the trees are all up now. Hopefully all your presents are purchased. Guys, you'll probably want to get on any remaining ones pretty quickly. And we're ready for the carols, ready to open presents, ready for the food. We are ready to celebrate the birth of Christ. Our culture makes a big deal over Christmas, and I know that as a good pastor, I'm supposed to be critical of these Christmas excesses. And there truly are some things that are over the top. However, the things that we do at Christmas that are rooted in the love of God should be extravagant. They should be over the top. They should make others stop and take notice, because the whole world should stop and take notice of what God did for us when Christ came to earth, fully God and fully human, and lived for us and died for us. This is where you guys say amen. There we go. John says that greater love has no one than this, that they lay down their life for a friend. No greater love can be shown. And when the Son came to earth for the sole purpose of living the perfect life and then suffering the penalty of sin anyway, so that he could pay our debt, no greater love can be shown. So this Christmas, be extravagant in your love of God. Express it openly with your family, with your friends. Don't go into debt, that's not what I'm saying, but extravagantly allow God to be shown through everything that you do today, tomorrow, Christmas morning. Celebrate. Live God's love. God loves us all more than we can imagine. He didn't have to die for us, but he did anyway. And all he asks for in response is our faith, a faith rooted in love. For the love of God is the root of all kinds of wonderful things. Root your faith in the love of God, and let the love of God be the foundation of all that you do. Instead of wondering what it is that we have to do in order to be saved, just revel in our love of God. Participate in your love of God. Show your love of God in everything. You won't notice what you're doing because you're just simply celebrating. But you will be acting on your faith. A faith rooted in love. God first loved us and then acted on it. Let us love God first and then act on it. Amen.